Right now, you're probably surrounded by music, a speaker somewhere, earphones in, a playlist running in the background while you cook, commute, work, or do absolutely nothing. Music is so normal to you that you don't even notice it anymore. But 12,000 years ago, before farms existed, before cities existed, before kings or priests or borders, a group of hunter-gatherers walked hundreds of miles through desert and rock to gather in one place, not for food, not for safety, not for war. They gathered to celebrate. And here's the question nobody thinks to ask. Why did humans, struggling to survive, starving, hunted, constantly moving, stop everything to throw a party? For a long time, researchers assumed early human gatherings were purely functional, survival meetings, trade exchanges, mating seasons. The academic consensus was simple. Prehistoric people had no time for ritual, no surplus, no stability, no reason to celebrate anything. But that assumption turned out to be wrong. Very wrong. In 2010, archaeologist Klaus Schmidt published his final analysis of Göbekli Tepe, a site in modern-day Turkey that he had been excavating since 1994. What he found buried under layers of deliberately packed soil wasn't a settlement. It wasn't a storage facility. It wasn't a fortress. It was a ceremonial complex. Carved stone pillars up to 18 feet tall, animal reliefs, circular enclosures, built by people who had no pottery, no writing, no agriculture. People who still hunted wild boar for breakfast. Think about this. These were nomadic foragers who somehow organized the labor of hundreds of people to build something that served no survival function. They built it to gather. They built it to feel something together. Here's what's really interesting. Göbekli Tepe predates Stonehenge by 6,000 years. It predates the Egyptian pyramids by 7,500 years. And it was built by people we used to call primitive. In 2021, a separate study by researchers at the University of Tel Aviv identified massive quantities of animal bones at the site. Wild cattle, gazelle, aurochs, far more than a single community could hunt or consume. The calculations pointed to one conclusion. People were traveling from vast distances and feasting together in large numbers, not a small family gathering. A regional event, a deliberate convergence, the first festival in human history, and nobody sent invitations. But here's what nobody talks about. It wasn't just food and fire. Embedded in the stone carvings at Göbekli Tepe are some of the oldest known symbols in human history. Vultures, scorpions, headless human figures. Symbols that researchers like Andrew Collins and Giulio Magli believe were connected to astronomical events, specifically to the rising of certain star clusters visible only at certain times of year. Which means these gatherings weren't random. They were scheduled, coordinated across geography, without a calendar, without a phone, without a single written word. Your ancestors looked up at the sky and used the stars to plan a party. And here's the detail that should generally disturb you. In 2017, archaeobotanist Laura Dietrich analyzed residue found in large stone vessels at the site. Her findings confirmed fermented grain, an early form of beer. These people weren't just gathering to pray or mourn or trade. They were drinking together, dancing almost certainly, losing themselves in rhythm and firelight. This is 9600 BCE. This is not what you were taught in school about cave people surviving day to day. This is a civilization of feeling, running 7,000 years before civilization officially started. This is why you still feel something inexplicable at concerts, festivals, and crowded celebrations. Your brain doesn't know that Coachella exists. It doesn't know what a stadium is. It only knows the ancient survival rule. When humans gather in large numbers, move together in rhythm, and share food and fire, that is safety. That is belonging. That is meaning. In 2016, a study published in Evolution in Human Behavior by researchers Emma Cohen and Robin Dunbar confirmed that synchronized movement, Dancing, marching, even just swaying together dramatically increases pain tolerance and social bonding. Not metaphorically, physically. Your body releases endorphins when you move in sync with other humans. You feel high, you feel connected, you feel, for a moment, invincible. That's not a modern invention. That's 12,000 years of biological programming activating in your nervous system every time the bass drops. But here's the truth. Göbekli Tepe doesn't just prove that ancient people had ritual, it proves that ritual came before everything else. Before farming, before permanent shelter, before civilization as we define it. Which means the human need to gather, to celebrate, to create meaning together, that need didn't grow out of stability, it created stability. The festival didn't follow society, the festival built it. Think about that. Right now, somewhere in the world, a festival is happening. Lights and music and strangers becoming familiar through shared rhythm. You probably think of it as entertainment, a weekend, a break from real life. But your body knows better. It knows the fire. It knows the circle of people. It knows the sound that travels across a dark plain and pulls something ancient in your chest toward it. You've been attending this event for 12,000 years. The venue changed, the music changed, the feeling never did. If this kind of deep dive into who we actually were, before empires, before history books, before all of it, if that interests you, there's more of this world here. Every video goes further back. Every story makes you wonder why no one told you this before. We were never just surviving. We were always alive.